morning and happy Monday. Welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. It is reasonably a nice day. It is, it's one of those things where it's like, why is it so nice out in fucking February? Like, I got to looking at my fucking phone when I get dressed in the morning because I've never dressed properly for the weather we're having. It's like fucking 50 degrees at 9 a.m., which is obscene for late February. So how is everyone out there? Hope everyone's good. If you're new, welcome. We had a huge influx of listeners after our Quantumania review. So if you're new, welcome to the show. For those who don't know, I tend to record these episode discussions on my way to work the morning after the episode comes out. So, like this week on The Bad Batch comes out on Wednesday. I'll record this on, on Thursday morning. Friday morning we'll record The Flash, and so on and so forth. If you go to multipleworldproductions.com/calendar, you will see our upcoming event schedule with adjustments that were made as needed and adjustments that were made with the upcoming theatrical slate updated for the month of February, and then the month of what's the other one? The month of March, as some call it, the one after February. Why the fuck did I have that brain fart right now? Anywho, all that's all set up. So last night I was up doing that. So that's all set. So what else have we got? Today we're going to talk about The Last of Us, episode 6, and we're entering the home stretch of the show. And I really enjoyed this episode. Joel and Tommy reuniting and Ellie getting to learn a little bit more about Joe is very, it's very useful. Because I think that, up until now, it's been a pretty, superficial relationship between them. I think that, that is definitely part of why this show, worked, is that it's I don't want to say superficial, that's wrong. It's there is depth to the relationship, don't get me wrong, but the idea that they are, neither of them is giving all the information to the other, and now Ellie has found out what Joel's been hiding is always interesting. And then for the two of them to have the emotional moments they do in this episode, I think Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey both put on phenomenal performances, and they do a great job of acting out people who are dealing with the situation they are in, where Joel is realizing he can't keep up with Ellie, and it's going to be a problem because Ellie needs someone who can protect her, and he's not able to do that to the degree he should as they get into the more dangerous regions of the country. And Ellie being abandoned again and having to deal with that, and it's I finally found someone who wouldn't abandon me, and now here you are abandoning me. All of that is kind of really, really great. And to have them both act out the way they do and all of that is really good. Everything with Tommy and Joel is great. I love seeing their relationship and how they don't show flashbacks like they do with the other characters, but they just kind of lay out what happened between the two of them in an interesting way and all of that. And I think that gets done pretty well. It's such a good, it's such a well-executed show. I think that this is one of the better, this is probably, and the thing is, too, I feel not right saying this, because I think I've addressed this before. To say this is the best video game adaptation feels unfair because of how close it hones to the game. Because the game is one of the best narrative games of all time. So just doing that in the video game, now you gotta adjust for the fact. And again, what this is doing very well is adjusting for the fact the gameplay aspects of it are being eliminated. we're getting yet another episode with very little action. And I'm not sitting here like, well, where's the action? Why isn't anyone fighting? Is there going to be a punch thrown? And we don't get anything like that until like the last 3 minutes of the episode, when we have Joel and Ellie at the university. And I think that's an important distinction, where it's like, and I think that's how this show kind of sets itself apart from The Walking Dead. And I am curious, I think I've voiced this before, I am curious as to how this show would be treated had The Walking Dead not ended as poorly as it did. And had The Walking Dead been better all through its run, would the show be as well received? I think it probably would, if I'm being honest, but it's just, the fact of the matter is, I've only seen a little bit of The Walking Dead, and I know that it did kind of fall off after a certain point, but the thing is, when you watch The Walking Dead, the issue is, every episode is a ton of action, and it's all about the action, and it's like, even with Fear the Walking Dead, which I've seen a few episodes of, and all of that, it's all about the action. It's not about, slowly moving through the world and learning why people are acting the way they are, and exploring what it means to be human in the face of inhumanity, which is basically what the show is about, where we have, rampant and awful things happening every step of the way to everyone around them. And it's and people are still coming through, and it's the indomitability of the human spirit, where it's like, look, we have this terrible thing happened, and they've made a commune out in the middle of nowhere, and they got this little place where everyone kind of helps out, and it's, it works very well, and it's like, oh, no one owns anything, and then he and Joel's like, oh, so it's communism, and he goes, no, it's not communism, we just live in a commune, and she's like, no, it's communism, this is communism. And that's not even that is, if it weren't for the socialist joke in Quantumania, that'd be the funniest socialism joke or communism joke this weekend, because the one in Ant-Man and the Wasp is fucking hilarious, where he's talking to the ants come back, and it's like, yeah, they came back, they formed this great society, and they aged 1,000 years, and I know socialism is a bit of a charged word, but alright, stop. Like, like the whole thing is such a great exchange in that movie. But yeah, I mean, looking at what this show is doing, I think it's really well done. For episode 7, I think we're going to have Joel incapacitated for most of it, if I remember what I know from the game a lot, and I think that's what the show really does need at this point, and it kind of is like, what do we need to move the story along in an interesting way? And I think for this show to move along in an interesting way, you need to have Ellie form her own autonomy and be her own person and learn to fend for herself, especially getting into part 2, which is going to be season 2. As we get into that, you're definitely going to need to have, Ellie learn to fend for herself and learn to act on her own. And we did get a part 2 character introduced in this one, I found out, because the horse Shimmer is a major part 2 character. So strap yourself in for that if you're a fan of The Last of Us Part 2. You probably already knew that. You didn't need me, who didn't play the game, to explain it to you. But yeah. I'm like, this is a show that I'm going to be disappointed when it ends, in the same way I was with Andor, where it's like, I think unlike Andor, which did start a little slow, by the time I got to the end, I was like, oh, fuck yeah, this is awesome. This one, out of the gate, I was like, this is hands down one of the best TV shows I've seen in a long time. I mean, it's still debatable over whether or not it's better than Andor, but, we'll see. Which Andor Season 2 is shooting right now. Yeah, do I have anything else to say about this episode of The Last of Us? I love the production design of this commune. And like, everything with Joel and Ellie's developing relationship is so entertaining, where it's like, they're on horseback and they're walking through I keep calling it the wasteland, I don't know if it's actually called that, but like, they're walking around, and he's trying to explain the rules of football to her, And it's like, all right, so if they go for it 4 times and they miss, then the other team gets the ball. Yes, but if they get 10 yards, then they get the ball, and they get another 4 chances. Yeah, so it's just one team moving forward, and he's like, well, yeah, but with violence. Like, everything about their relationship at this point has been so well developed that I buy these 2 characters who have been through some shit falling into this place of familiarity where it's like, all right, I buy everything about this. Or I'm not sitting there like, oh, we're moving these characters through the through the relationship at the clip that we're anticipating that they should be, without actually making anything that changes in the relationship feel earned, which is a big part of it. I mean, and when we talk about people earning things all the time, like, that's a big part of criticism is, are character developments earned, quote unquote. And I would say in this case, like, yeah, everything that we've seen has been earned by these characters. Like, seeing these moments together and seeing them, have to deal with, the shit. And I think that this episode is best defined by Joel and Ellie, having to learn to, having it out about abandonment, about him passing her off, and about all of that. And Joel having the crisis of, I can't do this anymore. I need to pass you off to someone else. Like, that whole thing is just so well executed and so well done that it kind of elevates the entire story and makes the entire thing work better. But I think that's about enough ground to cover today. So once again, if you go to multipleworldproductions.com/calendar, you can view our calendar of upcoming events. If you go to the news page, you will see updates for all of our upcoming, any episode that goes up, you'll get an update on there. And you can also subscribe on your various podcasting platforms. I think we're going to start doing giveaways again. I'm thinking giveaways might be something we might do. And we might do that with, people who are subscribed to the website, where there is a subscription button where you can subscribe through WordPress. I think what we're gonna do is we can subscribe that way, and then we'll do giveaways through that. So anyone who subscribes on the site will be entered automatically when we figure out how to do a giveaway. It probably won't be monthly because that could get expensive. We're probably going to do bi-monthly, so once every 2 months. But yeah. So this week we have Akira tomorrow. That'll probably be late because I have to watch the movie tonight and then record the episode after work. So it'll probably be late tomorrow instead of a little after midnight this morning. So just be aware of that. Over on 30-Minute Reviews on Wednesday. Josie couldn't make it this week, so I'm going to do an episode about what's going on, what could be announced at Star Wars Celebration. It'll be a short episode, but it'll be something for exploring hyperspace lanes. And we will discuss, in terms of movies this week, we have Emily on Friday, and on Saturday we're going to talk about Cocaine Bear. And then also we'll be continuing with our regularly scheduled The Bad Batch. We'll continue with, what was the other show? The Flash and The Last of Us next week. And I feel like there's something I'm missing. Oh, right, I added to Sunday. We're going to talk about All Quiet on the Western Front. So, yeah, that we're going to talk about on Sunday, which is nominated for Best Picture. With that, and then with Triangle of Sadness the week after, I will have seen all the Best Picture nominees. Because Triangle of Sadness will be hitting Hulu on the, on the 3rd, on March 3rd. So, all of that is coming. Get ready for all of that. And then, keep the calendar checked, and we will update things there. And I'll try to update it once a week if we add in or remove episodes or make date adjustments or anything like that. But I think we're going to stick to the schedule that's up there now. It's just dates on the theatrical releases may move based on ticket availability and what time screenings are in my theater, because it's entirely based on what time I can get there after work and get to the movie theater, see the movie, then do the review of it. It's a little bit of an ordeal. But yeah, we'll wrap up there for today. So until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.